Looks like I'm finally back. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the King Crusoe YouTube channel. I am your host, King Crusoe. I am Holden Stubbs, and in today's video, I am finally back after over a year of not being on YouTube. So let's get right into what this video is going to be about, eh? So first off, this one's going to be a long one in case you couldn't already tell by the timeline at the bottom, or, you know, you can scroll your mouse and see how long it is. It's probably going to be really long. The purpose of this video is going to be the first of a series of videos on my channel called State of Affairs, and what that means is it's going to be a monthly update and wrap-up kind of thing that happens. This one's going to be a little bit longer because it's the first one and it's January, so it's going to be an annual version as well. There's a whole lot of things that are going into it, so bear with me for the length of this video. I promise you all of the information that I display here is going to be very important. So first off, I want to talk about where I kind of ended off in the channel in late 2020. Oh goodness, I want to say late 2019, but that was definitely not the year. In late 2020, I ended off with an update video. I'm probably going to include the thumbnail like right there or something like that. I ended with that and a critical analysis on BioShock, both videos that I'm very proud of. That update video is not quite so accurate anymore, to say the very least. Yeah, nothing that I said in that video is accurate at this point. So, first thing on the table for this one is to discuss what is on the table for the future now. Holy cow, the ring light on my glasses is kind of annoying. So, something that I'm getting rid of on the channel now is Let's Plays. This was something that I determined shortly after I released the critical analysis video for BioShock. And the reason that I'm getting rid of Let's Plays is because I didn't really enjoy doing them that much, mostly because of the editing. I was going to get rid of all of the, or I was going to stop recording Let's Plays in the first place anyway, if I was going to start releasing videos again in early 2021, which I ended up not doing. But it was going to be going away anyway because of that. The only way that Let's Play videos are ever coming back to the channel is if I get a dedicated editor for series like that. You know, somebody that isn't me, because the reason that I hated doing those was because I hated editing them. Even back then, it was looking like it was going to be very unlikely that any of the videos were ever going to come back again in that regard. At this point in time, as you'll see through the rest of the video, Let's Plays are probably never going to happen again outside of streams, and even then, I'm probably not going to start streaming for years. It really depends on when I'm able to, but I have no plans to. Basically, yeah, what I'm saying is Let's Plays are gone, but I will talk about a series that I am going to be keeping for the future, and that is a critical analysis. I'm not going to be stopping doing those reviews. In fact, I have one that's been recorded and ready to, well, not ready to release because I haven't edited yet, but it was recorded. I want to say it was in December of 2020, so it's been a year since I recorded that video. That's for Uncharted 2, a critical analysis for that. What that's going to be is I'm actually going to finally edit that video and fix a couple of the mistakes that I made in it over top. You'll probably notice if you watch it, but that's besides the point. That video is going to be the final video of a critical analysis season 1. Season 2 will be starting after that with the next video where, you know, the videos will have a step up in writing and editing quality, hopefully. The reason that I'm going to be keeping the critical analysis series is because I actually really enjoyed doing those reviews. I really enjoyed writing them. Editing them was a lot of fun. I really enjoy editing in general. It's just hard to find time to do it, so hopefully I can be able to do those frequently enough. They're not going to be nearly as frequent as the few critical analysis videos I released in late 2020, but I still plan to continue to do the series. And another series that I'm actually going to be starting alongside critical analysis, which I actually hinted at in that last update video, which was in November or December of 2020, is the Platinum Review. It's going to be another video game review series, but instead of being the on the topics of what makes a game good or bad, or the things that I like, we're talking about technical aspects and whatnot, that series is actually going to be about the process of getting the Platinum Trophy for games. So it's only going to be for games that I have personally gotten the Platinum Trophy for, obviously, but it's a series that I want to do because I felt like adding a section into all of the critical analysis videos that talked about the process of getting the Platinum and how hard or easy or worth it was to do that. It adds on an extra few minutes, extra couple hundred words. Sometimes it adds on an extra 1,000 words or something like that, which in most of my critical analysis videos up to this point, where I got, actually I don't know how many of those I've actually gotten the Platinum in. I know in the Bioshock one, I really shortened that section down because I intended to do a video on that specifically. So I'm going to do that in the future as well. I'm not going to talk about the trophy process of any games that I do in the critical analysis. Those will be saved for Platinum review if they're games that I have platinumed or intend to platinum. So there's that. Next category. So something else that I'm going to be introducing alongside the Platinum review is going to be talking about a different form of content that isn't video games. What that's going to be is books. Now in, let's see, it was September of 2021. In September, I fell back into love with reading. As a kid, I loved reading a lot. I did it a lot. I read a lot of books. And then there was a few years here, probably from like 2018 or so till the present, where I just didn't read that much at all. There was a couple years in 2019 and 2020 where I maybe only read 1 or 2 books through the entire year, and that was just in the middle of the summer, like at camp or something like that, when I didn't have something to do on my phone. I fell out of love with reading for that period of time, but I've fallen back into it hard, and I've been talking about books a lot with a lot of friends on a Discord server that I'm part of. And I really like talking about books. I want to review books, so that's something that I'm going to be doing on this channel now. That's actually going to be the most frequent, most common, that's the word, the most common type of content that will exist on this channel is going to be book reviews, and that's going to be part of a series that I call the Book Binge, because I like to call my series fun stuff, so leave me alone. And alongside that, I'm going to be doing a monthly series that will be called, like book hauls and bookshelf tours. So I've done a lot of collecting books this year as well, which, it's fun. I really enjoy collecting books, and I enjoy reading them. So I have some really nice bookshelves over there that I've been filling out quite a lot in the past couple months. On this channel, I'm going to do some book hauls where, as frequently as I get enough books to be able to show off in a book haul, I'm going to show off those books in a book haul video. Otherwise, there's going to be bookshelf tours where I talk about the books that I have. Like, I'll take the books off that I have of 1 or 2 of the shelves and show you all those books and kind of talk about them a little bit. And that'll be like part 1 of the bookshelf tour, and then do a couple more shelves later. You get the picture. So that's going to be something that I do, covering books a lot. And then there's one final content path that I'll actually be doing, and that is covering movies and TV. Movies is something that I haven't watched frequently for a long time. The only movies that I've seen in the past few years before getting into this content path, I watched the 3 Star Wars sequel trilogies in the theater in 2015, 2017, and 2019. I watched Joker in the theater in 2019. Other than those 4 movies, I had only watched a handful of movies at most in that entire span of time. I enjoy watching movies, and I've never been super into TV shows, but I want to get into those types of things. So I will be covering, reviews and talking about different topics within movies and TV as well on the channel, but that will be a completely different form of content. For example, a critical analysis and the Platinum review, which are the video game review series that I'm going to be doing, are going to be a little bit more long form, more tightly scripted, more heavily edited. They aren't going to feature me on camera like you see right now. The book related content, my book reviews, those reading wrap-ups, the book hauls and stuff like that, that's going to be right here in the spot, in the chair, me on camera, talking about stuff. So that's going to be, and it's going to be more loosely edited. I'm not going to do as much editing except for, where I need to cut out random stuff, to cut out big spaces, stuff like that, simple stuff. The movies and TV is going to be something a little bit different. It'll actually be in a completely different location, because that is going to be in a podcast setting with my best friend. My best friend and I are going to be doing a podcast called The Seasonal Podcast. On that, we will be covering movies and TV. So a couple of the series that I want to talk about primarily, one of them is that we're going to be doing is the MCU review, where we're going to be talking about watching and reviewing and talking about each MCU movie and TV show, basically in order of release, more or less, give or take. And the reason that we're doing that is because I'm somebody who hasn't watched that many movies in the MCU. I want to say that before all of this, I've watched maybe a total of, I could probably count on one hand the amount of MCU movies that I had seen, all of which I liked enough, or really liked, depending on which ones they were, but I don't know that much about the whole timeline or anything like that in general. So we're going to be doing a series on the whole thing, covering the whole thing, because that seems fun to me. And then another series that's very similar is going to be the Star Wars retrospective, but instead of the MCU movies and TV shows in order, we're going to be doing the Star Wars movies. So we'll be doing the prequel trilogy, the original trilogy, and the sequel trilogy, and then we'll be doing all sorts of the different TV shows and talking about those. So, and then there will be like different rankings and other special videos and stuff that exist in those videos as well, but those are going to be much more long form, much longer, much less editing, if any at all, depending on the video, except for maybe some audio touch-ups, but that's something that we'll be doing, and I'm really looking forward to starting that. We were going to be recording a couple of the first few episodes a couple days ago. Things didn't line up right. We're going to actually be recording those few episodes tomorrow, the time that I'm recording this. Of course, you're seeing this way after I'm recording this, because this is coming out on January 1st. I'm recording this in late November, question mark, somewhere around Thanksgiving. Oh yeah, on the seasonal podcast, as well as the MCU review and Star Wars retrospective, there's going to be plenty of other stuff that we cover. Lots of other movies and shows, if they're on HBO Max or Disney Plus, or Netflix eventually when I actually bother to subscribe to Netflix. Those three, as well as a couple random stuff here and there that exist on different platforms we're going to be covering. But if it's on HBO Max, Disney Plus, or Netflix, there's a higher chance of us covering it than if it's not on one of those services. So if there's anything on one of those services that you want to see a couple random guys review on podcast format, there's that. Moving on. This is where we get into the more technical and rambly bit, even though I've already been rambling on for on my camera about 15 minutes now. It's probably a little bit shorter for you, but this is where I talk about the schedule, the hard schedule, the way that everything, all of these video content items are going to be released. This is how it's going to go. The video that you're watching right now is a State of Affairs video. This one for January is called State of Seasonal. It's because of seasonal productions. I'll talk about that later. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. But this is a monthly / annual for January, a monthly, a wrap-up and scheduling video where I talk about the plans that I have for my work, and to be transparent with everybody who's watching. So basically, this video happens to be the January episode, as I said, so this is the annual update, hence why it's so long. I already said that in the beginning, but that's fine. It contains the general outline for the year. The monthly ones are going to contain a general outline for the month, as well as be a little bit more detailed on the specific plans that I have for the month. For example, this video, a little bit later, I'm going to be telling you explicitly what's coming out this month. So, the next thing is the critical analysis and platinum review videos, which I mentioned earlier. Those videos are going to be coming out on the 4th of any given month. The way that I plan to do these, I was initially thinking about doing them every other month alternating, but that's probably a little bit too often for me to be able to reasonably promise being able to get those videos out, because it'll probably take a little bit more editing than I'm anticipating. So instead, it's going to be every 3 months. So what happens is this month, January, there's not going to be any. But starting in February is going to be a critical analysis, and then a platinum review will come out in March, and then that's going to go for every 3-month period. So January, and then February, and then March. And then after that, the videos will come out in May and June, respectively, then August and September, and then November and December, and then on and on and on. So that's going to be how I'm going to be doing that. So about 4 critical analysis videos and 4 platinum review videos every year is the plan. After that is the book binge, so all the book reviews and stuff like that. There's going to be like a monthly reading wrap-up and TBR, which is a to-be-read list. Those videos will come out on the first Monday of every month. And a normal book review or a similarly book-related video, such as a top 10 or something like that, will be coming out every other Monday. So every Monday of the year, there will be a book-related video. So whether that's a reading wrap-up and TBR video, or a book review, or some other book-related video, every Monday one of those will be releasing. Then when it comes to the book haul videos and the bookshelf tours, those will come out on the second Friday of every month. The second Friday specifically because the seasonal podcast, which is where I talk about all the movies and stuff with my friend, those will be coming out on the first and third Friday of every month. So 2 of those every single month. Except for this month, the introductory episode to the podcast is actually out right now, but I'll talk about that later. And then I suppose I should probably mention a couple contingencies. When the State of Affairs video, this video equivalent, comes out on the first of the month, if that first of the month happens to be on a Monday, that week's book binge video, or that week's book binge video will come out on the Tuesday. When the first of the month occurs on a Friday, that week's podcast episode will come out on Saturday. So there's a little bit of space between those. I don't want to post too many videos on the same day because that's too much. Yeah, that's the schedule for all the video stuff that's on YouTube. So now we get into the next topic, which I've hinted at before. This is the stuff that I'm really excited about. Please don't click away. This is the stuff that I really want to talk about. Seasonalproductions.com. This is my website. I can talk about the background of that website probably in some other format sometime later. That website has all of the same video content that you can get here. So if you go to seasonalproductions.com, which launched today, if you go to seasonalproductions.com and bookmark it, you can still watch all of these videos there, as well as get all of the rest of the content that I'm about to outline right now. Let's see. As well as on there, you'll also get a written transcript of all of my State of Affairs video that will release at the same time as kind of a for the record. So, something that people can have a written transcript of what's going on the channel, as well as be able to, hold me up to that kind of stuff. It's for me to be able to hold myself up, as well as for people who don't want to watch the video and just want to know what's going on the channel. They can just, go through and skim and read kind of the schedule and stuff like that. So that's something that's going to exist there. Just so you know, the written transcripts will also come out on the first of the month. So, every single time a monthly update, a State of Affairs video comes out, first of the month. There you go. So something else that will be coming out on Seasonal Productions is my blogs. Right now I have 2 different blog types, which are my health and self blog and my music and gaming blog. So those are topics that I'll be talking about on the health and self blog. I'll be talking about stuff like, lifting and eating healthy and stuff that's been going on in my life, things about my health, how I've improved over the past, couple years, and, other similar topics. In the music and gaming blog, I'll be talking about music and gaming in ways that I can't otherwise. For example, a critical analysis and the platinum review are both game review series for 2 different topics. Like I'm not going to be talking about gaming news or certain games that I'm excited for, or top 10 lists or anything like that on those. So those will be posted as blog types. This month for January, there's going to be a lot more. You can expect anywhere from 1 to 5 blog posts a month. They will always be posted. Blog posts will always come out on Sundays, and you can expect anywhere from 1 to 5 of those, depending on how many Sundays there are. Sometimes I may only post 1 blog post for the whole month if that's all I have to talk about. If there's 4 different topics I want to talk about for the whole month, then there will be 4 of them. If there's only a couple, if I only want to post 1 in one topic and 1 in the other, every other or something like that. Either way, blog posts will always come out on Sundays. There will always be at least 1 blog post on the first Sunday of the month, though, so that can be regular enough if you need that. And then moving on, I'm going to be releasing poems. I am a musician. I love music. I've always wanted to be in a band. I really like writing lyrics, but I'm not musically inclined enough in spaces like guitar, piano, and whatnot to be able to just write music. I'm good at drumming, and that's about it. So instead of trying to make those a musical reality, I'm going to post some certain some certain lyric ideas and stuff like that I've had as poems on the website. It's kind of a creative side gig for me. That'll be something a little bit different that I can, do just to let off a little bit of creative energy in some other areas that I haven't been able to for, the past several years of my life. Those, if there are any, will come out on the first Sunday of every month. Same with the blogs. no matter how many there are. If there are 3 that I want to release for any given month, they'll all come out on that first Sunday. If there's only 1, it'll come out on that first Sunday. If there's none for the month, none will come out. But I'll try to get at least 1 poem released every single month. After that, we've got short stories. So I am an author at heart. I've wanted to be an author for my entire life. So I'm going to be releasing short stories, novellas, and novels. So the short stories, there will be 1 short story on the first Wednesday of every single month. So 12 short stories a year, just stories about a whole variety of different things that I want to talk about. Creative endeavors that I'm never going to be able to write full books on, but still want to be able to write just because I can. Those kinds of things will come out on the first Wednesday of every month. And then on the topic of novellas, that will come out on the first Wednesday of every 6th month. So there will be 2 novella releases every single year on January and July 1st. Or not January and July 1st. The first Wednesday of January and July. That makes a little bit more sense. The purpose of those is going to be able to talk about or write about certain things that I want to write about in a more extensive aspect than in the short stories that I don't have the time or the ability to be able to do as full novels. We'll get to that in a little bit, because even some novels may be released as novellas every 6 months like that, depending on word counts and whatnot. Because when it comes to novels, I'm going to be releasing all of my novels in one specific timeline. So there's an epic fantasy that I've been building and writing for a while. It's called the Reign of Ash sequence, also known as Silent Reign, which is the title of the first book. That's my creative passion when it comes to writing. I really like writing the series. I have this whole story to tell, and I'm not going to bog down the novel section of the website with books that aren't related to the Reign of Ash. So things that I want to write as full novels that I can't write as full novels and post onto the novels page, I'll either shorten and make them into novellas or just keep them as novels and post on the novellas page, if that makes any sense. I don't know if I'm making any sense. Whatever, I'm trying my best. But yeah, the way that I'll be releasing novels is instead of once every month or once every 6 months, is every single Wednesday, 1 chapter will release. So 1 chapter of one of these books every single week for the duration of the book that I'm writing. For example, if the first book that I'm writing right now, 1 chapter will release every Wednesday until that book's done. After that book's done, there will be a break of at least 2 weeks for me able to do pre-writing and stuff for the next book. So anywhere from probably about 2 to 4 weeks there will be between that first book and the second book, and then the second book and the third book, respectively. This first series in the Reign of Ash sequence is going to be that trilogy. So 2 to 4 weeks in between each one of those books. After I'm done with that third book, I'll be moving on to the second series of the sequence. When it comes to breaking apart time in between series, there will be some time between 1 and 1.5 months between those. Instead of 2 to 4 weeks, I'll need 1 to 1.5 months to be able to plan and do more specific outlining for the whole series. And then I can, work on books in the future. So this will be something that goes on super long term, because if there's anything that I'm willing to give away about the series before I release any of the books in full, is that there's 20 books in the Reign of Ash sequence. So there will probably be about, I think, between 2 and 3 full books. Actually, let's think about this for a second. Probably about 1.5 to 2 books will probably be released a year based on the 1 chapter a week outline. So, if that's something that you're interested in, please check that out. Again, seasonalproductions.com. Something that I'm super excited about. Keep in mind, this is a disclaimer. The novels are in first draft form. All of them are first draft form. The chapter that releases is basically the first draft that I've written. Sometimes I'll go over it and edit some of the grammar and fix a couple of major mistakes that I see immediately, or if there's some mistakes that I notice at the end and whatnot, I'll change some things around. But what posts on the website is subject to change at my discretion. What this means is that edits and eventual final drafts of each of these books that will eventually come out will take a little bit of time, and I may make available for sale or something like that as a final version of each book, so that everybody can still read all of these books in their first draft form. And sometimes there will be significant changes, sometimes there won't. You know, it depends on how things are going to go. But I will be able to make those in final draft form at some point and probably post for sale as like some ebook / digital format and do an audiobook made by me for those and make those available for sale. I doubt I'll ever be able to do physical versions of any of those unless, you know, I could justify it in a budget. So it really depends on how much support those kinds of things get. And on that same note, the short stories and novellas will also be first draft form and subject to change at my discretion. And again, edits and final versions of those will probably be made for sale, bundled in some sort of collection. So like, you know, like at some point in time, I may bundle together like all the horror short stories I write or something like that into an ebook and audiobook made by me. And, you know, similar thing. So if I ever want to be able to release any of those in final draft form, I can do those in collections at some point in the future. Again, depends on how much love those get. So please go to seasonalproductions.com and read all that stuff as it comes out, because it's something that I really love to do. So, now that I've been recording for a half hour, and with all of the schedule out and everything out of the way, let's talk about what's actually releasing this month in January with dates. So, as I mentioned earlier, no critical analysis and no platinum review for this month. Those will come out in February and March, respectively. Or maybe it's... yeah, I'll figure something out. And then, let's see. The monthly reading wrap-up in TBR is coming out on the 3rd. So this Monday, in 2 days, I'll have that out to be able to talk about. And then I'll have, let's see, the seasonal podcast episodes that will be coming out in January will be Iron Man. So we'll be talking about Iron Man in that. The MCU review video number 1 will be on January 7th. And then we'll be talking about The Phantom Menace. So the Star Wars retrospective episode number 1 will come out on January 21st. So those are the seasonal podcast episodes that are coming out. The introductory episode for the podcast is out right now, today. So go check that out, because we'll be talking about the podcast more in depth, and seasonal productions a little bit more in depth if you're curious. And then in regards to the book binge, I should have included this a little bit after the monthly reading TBR, but the book reviews that will be coming out for this month are going to be for The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien, Carrie by Stephen King, and The Wrath of Darth Maul by Ryder Windham. However you pronounce his last name, Ryder Windham. Those 3 videos will be coming out on January 10th, January 17th, and January 24th, respectively. The reason for The Wrath of Darth Maul is because I'm going to be talking about that a little bit more in the podcast episode, that Phantom Menace podcast episode that comes out on the 21st. So it's kind of a pairing. That podcast will come out on the 21st, that review will come out on the 24th. They kind of go together in some aspect. And then on January 31st, the last Monday of January, there will be another book-related video. That one won't be a review. That will be a top 15 list, so not quite a top 10. I couldn't narrow it down to just 10, but it'll be a top 15 fantasy series I haven't read yet, but plan to. That's the video that'll come out on January 31st. So, and I'm excited to talk about that one, because I haven't read a whole lot of fantasy in my life. So there's a lot that I haven't read yet. So I kind of rank those in order of importance to me in some aspect. So let's see. After that, that's all the video content that will be coming out in January. So let's talk about the writing content that comes out in January. There will be 4 chapters of Silent Rain, the first book in the Silent Rain trilogy, and therefore the first series of the Reign of Ash sequence. 4 chapters will be coming out for that on January 5th, January 12th, January 19th, and January 26th, respectively. First chapter of that comes out January 5th. So keep an eye out for that. I'm excited for this whole big series to start. Let's see. The short story that will release this month will release on January 5th, same as the first chapter of Silent Rain. That will be titled Uninvited. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. It's a little bit more on the shorter side. I think it'll be a little bit more brief than some of my other short stories I plan to make, but, you know, varied lengths are a good thing in writing, I think. And then the novella release, this one is been a little bit rushed because I completely forgot that I needed to have one written for this January, so this half year's novella release, that doesn't make any sense. This January's novella release is called In the Mountain Pass. If you know anything about the Dyatlov Pass incident, there we go. English is hard. If you know anything about the Dyatlov Pass incident, there we go, I said it right that time. That's what that novella is going to be about. It's not going to be a retelling of the story so much as it is going to be a sort of historical fiction version of what happened on those nights in February 1959, I believe, or kind of like a I'm taking some liberties with the story and kind of putting my own twist on how I think the story goes. It'll be taking place with the viewpoints of some of the different people that it happened to back then. So I'm excited. I'm really excited to have people read that because it'll be a kind of fun take on the story. Instead of people just talking about what happened, I kind of want to explore maybe what happened and actually tell that story as, you know, a kind of amalgamation of a couple of theories that people think happened. Let's see, I probably talked about that one a bit too long. That's fine. Let's see, I forgot to talk about the poems. So the poem releases for January are actually already released. I didn't want to wait until tomorrow to post those. It looks great on the website. If you want to go read those right now, they are perfectly available. Those two releases are called Deny Me the Dream and Face of the Reaper. If you want to go check those out, they're already available. I suppose I could probably give the URL, but that's fine. And then the blogs that will be coming out for this month is a little bit more packed. I keep on hearing stuff at my door. This month is a little bit more packed when it comes to blog releases. Like I said, anywhere from 1 to 5 blog releases, depending on how many weeks there are and how many things I have to talk about for any given month. This month, there's a lot, because there's a lot of stuff for 2021 I want to talk about. Okay, let's go over that all again. I was talking about the blog posts that will release for this month, and I just got completely turned around and lied about literally all of them. So, let's try this all again. There will be 5 blog posts that come out in January, which will be probably the most of any month ever. There's just a lot of things to talk about this month, and since there's 5 Sundays, I can post 5 individual blogs each week, and that'll be something that we can talk about. So, January 2nd, which is tomorrow, will be the first blog post, and that will be called My History with Bipolar and Mental Health, and it'll be a little bit more of an introspective post for me. Definitely. It'll be a little bit more personal to talk about, but that'll be on the Health and Self blog. And then all the other 4 blog posts for the month will be on the Music and Gaming blog. I believe 3 of these are music related, 1 of them is gaming related. So, the one that will come out on January 9th is going to be the top 10 2022 albums I'm excited for. There's not a whole lot of albums that I've heard about that I'm super excited for yet, but there are 10 of them, so I will talk about those in that post. On January 16th will be the post titled 2021 Games I Enjoyed and More I Need to Play, because I did not play that many games this year. Like, I really didn't. You'll see in the post, but I didn't play that many games this year, and there are a lot of 2021 releases that I really want to play at some point in time. So I will be talking about those in that blog post. Then on January 23rd will be the blog post titled Why the 2021 EP Trend in Metalcore and Deathcore Was Important. And the reason I'm going to talk about that is because, man, it was so refreshing for so many bands to release EPs this past year instead of albums. 2020 was overwhelming for me when I was trying to make a top 10 list. I never made a top 10 list, even for my friends, because there were so many albums I didn't even listen to all of them. There were way too many. So the fact that so many artists that I really enjoyed posted EPs this year makes it really, really easy to actually go through and determine what I liked, because they take, so much less time. I thought it was really refreshing. I'll go a little bit more in detail in that blog post. And then the final blog post and the final item in this video to talk about will be releasing on January 30th, the final Sunday of January. That blog post will be called Top 10 Albums and EPs of 2021. So there were some that I listened to, like I said. Many of the items that I listened to and enjoyed most were actually EPs, so I have to specifically state in that title, albums and EPs, because, man, there were not that many albums that I loved as opposed to EPs. So, with that, I think I'm finally done with everything that I need to talk about in this video. I'm excited for all of this. If you've somehow made it this far in the video, thank you so much. I really, really, really appreciate that. Sorry for, being so rough on camera. I haven't done a video on camera for a very long time, and I haven't recorded anything for a very long time. I haven't released anything for a year or more by the time you're seeing this. So I'm really excited for everything that I have in store. If anything that you get out of this video, please check out seasonalproductions.com, bookmark it, and follow along with my journey there, because although all my videos will be posting here on YouTube, all of those links and all of those videos will be embedded in different places on the website, so you can get all of my content all in one place for free. You can feel free to donate when you visit the site, but that is not a requirement. Everything that will be posted here will also be posted there, as well as everywhere else. So if I'm eligible to post the link up there, just click up there to go to the website. I would very much appreciate it. So I guess that'll end it for this video. Thank you guys for watching, and I will be back in a video on Monday, right? Monday. Yes, Monday, January 3rd will be the next time you will see my face. So see you then.